Quentin Tarantino says he has come to the end of the road in his directing career. That is the headline on this week's MBE Movie News. And Stephen the Great Man himself has confirmed to, I believe it was NME in this article anyway, that he has reached the end of the road. There's been a long line of speculation over the future of his directing career. He has maintained, I think, that he would do 10 movies and then he'd step away and walk off into the sunset. People kind of thought, nah, he's playing with us, it'll not happen, he'll not really step away, he'll do more movies, but no, he's actually confirmed here that he's came to the end of the road. So what is your thoughts on this? He's got one more movie then, I believe.
That would be about right, yeah. I mean, I think he said something maybe about a year ago, John, that he was going to do 10 and then walk away. At the time, I've got to be honest, I did think, he can't do that. He'll not do that. No. But I think when you read this article, it does explain a lot in his way of thinking and why he said what he said. He's not totally walking away. He's still going to be involved in writing, according to what he's saying in this article, John.
Theatre work and stuff like
that. Write some books and stuff like that. So he's going to still obviously keep his creative spark, ignited. Sadly for moviegoers, we're perhaps not going to see another Quentin Tarantino film. But I think if he feels that he's done it all, he's got nothing more to give, then it's probably the best thing to do. That will be his legacy. He's not going to just fizzle out and make bad films after the 10th one. He knows his time has come, and you've got to respect that.
Yeah, Stephen, I think it will be a real shame for movie business as a whole if he does indeed follow up with his promise to step away. As you did say, he's such a wildly gifted chap that I can't see him just stepping away, not doing anything. He does confirm here that he will be doing books and perhaps writing theatrical works. So that'll be intriguing because he does seem to like a good sort of a roadshow sort of a thing for his movies. We've seen that with The Hateful Eight. He sort of made that into a format where it had an interval in the middle, an intermission, and then he took it on the road for a sort of it was a limited run, I think, around a set amount of cities. So it'll be a real shame if he doesn't perhaps continue on making movies. Certainly if it's this R-rated Star Trek movie that he goes out with, I think that'd be a little bit underwhelming for him to go out with a Star Trek movie.
I want to see him make it, but I don't want that to be his last one.
I don't want that to be his last. If he's making a last movie, I want it to be set in his unique sort of a wacky universe where he's created all these brands and whatnot. In terms of what it says, people thinking he's bluffing, we've actually got Brad Pitt, obviously, who starred in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, coming out and saying he doesn't believe he's bluffing at all. He went on to say, I think he's dead serious, and I kind of openly lament that to him, but he understands the math of when he feels like directors start falling off their game, but he has other plans and we're not going to have to say goodbye for a long time. So again, this may perhaps spark some sort of a renaissance for theatrical work, getting A-list Hollywood stars into perhaps theatres and whatnot, so it may see a positive impact on something outside of Hollywood itself. But he's right, Stephen, I think there's a point where directors, and just artists in general, start to dip off. There's that point where it's kind of a turn and they don't quite hit the same heights. We've seen it with various different bands over the years.
The
Beatles most famously stepped out after 10 years and they went away, and their music is legendary, it's iconic, and it's perpetually set as the gold standard.
The Stones,
the Stones have fizzled out. Bowie eventually fizzled out. Dylan, to an extent, has fizzled out, but the guy did have #1 hits in 5 separate decades, so that's perhaps a little harsh. So I can get what he's saying. You want to go out on a high, you want if people remember your work for what it was stunningly crafted, it was just very varied, because the guy's done so many different types of movies, and it would just be, although I wouldn't want to see him going out with a Star Trek movie, it'd be kind of fitting for him to go out with this sort of a franchise movie. He's never touched franchises before, to go out with that. Kubrick was the same, Stephen. He didn't have many movies at all. I think he had like 9 movies, 10 movies maximum, and then he left. I'd have to search that up, but he had a limited amount of releases.
Actors are the same, John. Sean Connery knew when, I think a lot of people, I think 2003, he retired, man's still living and breathing.
Daniel Day-Lewis stepped away, and people were absolutely in shock. They couldn't believe he'd give up acting, and he stepped away because they know that there's a certain plateau you get to, and then after that it's just downward, and nobody wants to see a star starting to wane and down, and obviously the output worsening as a result.
Yeah.
I'm tripping out my nut here. I've not got much more to add.
No.
It's going to be sad if he does step away, but I can understand his reasonings for it.
Yeah,
One of my all-time favourite directors already. He's not got anything to prove to anybody. Cannot wait to see Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I think it's going to be absolutely sublime. Roll on August, although 2 weeks later than the United States for us, so that's another slightly iffy thing for Tarantino. He likes to release movies much later here than they do in the States.
All the reviews will be out before these,
Yeah, we'll be well behind the curve with that one.
Yeah.
That's a shame, but look, Steve, we'll move on to someone who wasn't behind the curve when it came to knowing when to step away from a particular role which he had the opportunity to take. It's all about Russell Crowe.
Yeah.
He says that he turned down a Lord of the Rings deal worth $100 million after talking to Peter Jackson.
Yeah.
It was for the role of Aragorn.
Yeah.
And obviously he went on the phone to Peter Jackson. I think he says it became abundantly clear that the director's mind was elsewhere. He had someone else envisaged for the role of Aragorn, and he then decided he'd step away because he felt that it's only fair the director gets his man. First of all, is this something you would have liked to have seen, Stephen? Aragorn being played by Russell Crowe. Can you imagine anybody else other than Viggo Mortensen? And if indeed that was to happen, do you think that would have made I mean, it's kind of like that classic, I think it was Letterman interview with Harrison Ford. I'm asking a ridiculously stupid question here of you. Do you think the movie would have been totally different as a result? Harrison answered with, well, yeah, it's a different movie, it's a different actor. What's your thoughts?
It's a hard one, John, because we're talking hindsight now. Obviously, Russell Crowe was probably the biggest movie star of the day back when Lord of the Rings was getting made. Yeah. I could see him in the role, yeah. Whether it would have made a big difference, I'm not sure. It's easy to see that, you know, the films were based on the books, obviously, so the character wouldn't have changed too much.
No.
And the portrayal of him, whether it be you know, Viggo Mortensen or Russell Crowe, I just think Viggo Mortensen is just, you know, so attached to that role, you know, and as much as he wasn't unknown in terms of putting him up against the likes of Russell Crowe, he certainly was. But I think sometimes that's what you've got to do in these big franchises. I always think that bringing unknowns in is probably the wisest thing to do, is because these characters have been around for decades, and when you put a well-known face to that character, sometimes it doesn't live up to the expectations, and that's nothing to do with Russell Crowe. He's a fine actor. Yeah. But it would have been interesting to see, nevertheless. But I think it perhaps, with his status at the time, it would have maybe have overshadowed the rest of the cast. Yeah, Stephen Viggo was also in a whole host of different movies throughout the 90s, but it was for me The Lord of the Rings which catapulted him into man, obviously. When I actually discovered him as an actor. But I would have hated to have seen Russell Crowe portray Aragorn, son of Arathorn, obviously. I'm a big Tolkien fan. You're right, it's the same character in, obviously, the books, but something about Viggo, his persona, his charisma, it's just... He's got a quiet presence, Yeah, it's just something about him makes that character what it is for me in the movies. I connected with him as an actor, and I've followed him afterwards, and I just think he's absolutely sublime. That most recent release, Captain Fantastic, I thought he was sublime in that as well. So for me, it would have lost something if we'd got Russell Crowe. It would have been a completely different movie. I can't say it wouldn't have worked, because he's got a completely different sort of a persona and charisma as well when he goes on the screen, but he just seems to have that little air of aggression in him. I don't know what it is, Russell. No, I know exactly what you mean. You saw that in the Man of Steel as well, when he played, Jor-El. It does have that kind of, it suited that role, to be fair, you know, what he was up against with Zod. But he does have that kind of snap to him, you know, and I think perhaps that wouldn't have, you know, I don't think that perhaps would have worked with the character. He's got a quite kindliness to him, Aragorn. He's this everyday, ordinary man, but deep down he's got this illustrious, incredible lineage. I couldn't imagine Russell Crowe doing that scene where, you know, Aragorn, you know, goes down on one knee and bows to Frodo and the gang, you know. I couldn't see him doing that. No, Stephen. It being convincing. Yeah, as I did say, Viggo is just completely synonymous with the role now. It's difficult to go back and sort of think about somebody else perhaps portraying the role. It's like Han Solo as well, there was a whole host of people. Sylvester Stallone. Yeah, Sylvester Stallone. I think
perhaps Kurt Russell was in for it as well.
Yeah.
So it's difficult when you've watched the movies, you're so connected to the characters and these portrayals, to then imagine someone else stepping into the role.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have worked for me. It didn't happen
Walken
anyway.
as well.
Christopher Walken was another one. That would have been terrible.
Yeah.
Absolutely terrible. But look, it's intriguing again. We spoke about it yesterday on Heroes with Jeremy Renner knocking back a role. Shows you just what the man's made of. He'd won an Oscar. He could have had $100 million starring as one of the titular figures in a big franchise sort of a movie. And he knocked it back as he realised that Peter Jackson had someone else in mind for the role, and he didn't want to do a disservice to the director by perhaps coming in with his star power and obviously overturning the director's, the studio's decision. They could have perhaps overturned Peter Jackson's decision to cast Viggo Mortensen. I don't know. I'm gibbering again, Stephen. We're going off on a complete tangent.
No.
I'm going to move on to the next topic before I dig myself into an Anthony Daniels rabbit hole. That's what we call it now. After that Twitter meltdown from Anthony. The next topic, Stephen's very intriguing. It's tying into these whole new sort of a renaissance and swave of musical movies which have been hitting over the last couple of years, with obviously Dexter Fletcher's Rocket Man, with the Bohemian Rhapsody, with the sort of a sequel to Mary Poppins, with a whole host of different musicals and different types of musicals. And this one's all about Baz Luhrmann's potential Elvis biopic. It's casting the king, they say.
Yeah.
There's a couple of names in the frame. What's your thoughts on this, Steve, as a whole? Is this something you want to see? We've seen Elton John, we've seen Freddie Mercury. Do you want to see an Elvis biopic? And do you agree with some of these names?
It's funny, John, that we're talking about this, because we were talking about, I think maybe 4 weeks ago, who they're going to target next. We kind of flippantly said the likes of Rod Stewart. Never actually crossed my mind they would, maybe take on the likes of Elvis, because I think there's certain, characters throughout music, certainly in the 20th century, that you don't touch. And if you do, perhaps maybe a segment of life. I thought, Aaron Taylor Johnson's portrayal of the young John Lennon was bang on, because it was that period in his life where none of us can say, apart from the people that were around him at that point, this is wrong, he's portraying him all wrong. And I think it's going to be the same for this as well. I think it's going to be based on the young Elvis. So it does say, the likes of Bruce Campbell and Kurt Russell are probably going to be, not going to stand a chance. Kurt Russell has obviously played Elvis previously. But
I didn't know that.
A fantastic portrayal, John. But I'm interested to see it. I want to see that early part of his life. I know bits and pieces of it just from hearsay and then reading some articles like in the likes of NME or Q magazine or whatever, or the Rolling Stone magazine. But I would really like to, see this play out. I don't know how they would handle it, as in regards to his, his back catalogue, how they'll go around that. Because as we know, the Bowie thing is just a no-go for me anyway. I'd love to see, this ultimate version of... Yeah, and they've not got any of the rights to the music. It's going to be live stuff, that they're going to have to cover, and cover versions, which... That's not what the man was about, and certainly the likes of the King, that's not what he was about. So hopefully they've got the rights to the music as well. I've not read the whole article, John. I've just kind of skimmed it because I've got the gist of it. But it's certainly something that I would like to see. Bob Dylan's another one I would like to see as well. But another character that's very hard to sort of nail down. Roy Orbison as well. The list goes on. But I'm very intrigued to see this one. Some of the names that are getting put about, John, Aaron Taylor Johnson is one of them. I don't want to see Harry Styles either. Miles Teller certainly does have that look about him.
He does.
We've both seen Whiplash, John. Probably one of my favourite films of the last 10 years.
Stunning.
It's absolutely
stunning
amazing.
Performance
and the likes of this fella here, Austin Butler, who I'm not too sure about. I know that he's in The Dead Don't Die. I've not seen it yet, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. So I think perhaps after we see these films, have a better judgment on them. Miles Teller for me does stand out though, and he does have that kind of young Elvis look, and the eyes, and he's certainly got the hair
and the lips. Just the facial shape is in general, and as you did say, the hair is absolutely important for Elvis, Stephen, in terms of looks. Yeah, well, I'm intrigued by this. I've really enjoyed this sort of a renaissance of musicals in general. La La Land and whatnot, and The Greatest Showman, different types of musicals, and just the resurgence at the box office. We're seeing more and more studios starting to try and capture the gold that we've seen with obviously Bohemian Rhapsody mostly last year. Rocketman's not quite recaptured that. It's done very well, it's made a profit, but that was just incredible. That was lightning in a bottle with Bohemian Rhapsody. It'll be intriguing to see if Luhrmann actually tries to go down the Bohemian Rhapsody route, where it's just an out-and-out biopic with musical elements sprinkled in, or whether he goes for the more traditional musical sort of a story that we've seen in Rocketman. Personally, I think both would work. You could do a more sort of a rigid, linear retelling of the man's story, what he did here, there and everywhere, with musical elements flung in to give us that sort of a air of authenticity to the story. Otherwise, you could, as I did say with Rocketman, you could do that musical element where you're literally dancing the actor through sets and going back in time and doing things that's perhaps a little bit more fantastical and having it tying into a slightly less linear retelling of his life. I'm on board for it. I would really like to see it. This is a guy, Luhrmann, they do say, who's had success with musicals before, the likes of Moulin Rouge, Strictly Ballroom. So the guy knows what he's doing. He knows how to tackle a musical. Certainly they're more classical music, musical films. So I think we could see more of Rocketman. In terms of the actual actors in this list, Aaron Taylor-Johnson is a no-go for me. I think he's an incredible actor, so versatile. Really enjoyed him in a whole host of different movies. Obviously Quicksilver, as you did say. Played Lennon in Nowhere Boy, was it? Nowhere Boy, I always want to say Nowhere Man because of the Beatles song. The Wall, obviously Kick-Ass, so he knows how to do a wide array of different genres, but I don't want to see him doing this. I don't think he's quite got the look. Harry Styles is a no-go for me as well, Stephen. Doesn't quite have that vocal originality that you see with Elvis. It wouldn't work. It doesn't look anything like him. And I'm going to move on that note to the next one.
I know obviously he was in the likes of Dunkirk and all that, but his acting skills I'm not really too sure about. He
had a role in Dunkirk.
Could carry a film though.
I don't think he could. I don't think he could be the leading man in a musical film, Stephen. Miles Teller, for me, is probably the standout of this list, just in terms of looks. I don't know if he can sing. I've not heard him singing, but certainly in terms of overall looks, he's very, very reminiscent of a young Elvis, so that would work. This other chap, though, Austin Butler, does have certain elements of Elvis in his looks as well. He's got a great head of hair, he's got the nose to an extent. He could play Elvis. Can he sing? I don't know. This is perhaps the most important thing. It's not just about looks and capturing the essence of a man, it's the voice. When you're doing a musical, you have to be able to carry it off, unless they mime. Like they kind of done that with Rami Malek. So
we're kind of going down the road of solo here because, I don't think... I think some of the names we were actually pitching for the chap from YouTube that was I can't remember his name, Anthony something. But just on sheer looks, we didn't know if the guy could actually act. We knew he could
should have got Jamie Costa, Steve.
At the end of the day, John, I think you do raise a good question there, though. That more importantly, this person's going to have to sing.
Oh, do they? Look at Rami Malek in Bohemian Rhapsody. He didn't sing.
No.
They used a combination, I think, of the original songs and that other chap who's incredible at doing Freddie Mercury.
I can't remember his name now.
I can't remember his name either. It's went out of my consciousness since that started dissipating. That also the success of that movie. But Stephen, I don't know whether they can sing it. If they can't, they can bring in someone that looks just as good. They can dance and move, do the musical elements, and then they can have someone who can nail Elvis's voice, come in and do the ad-libbing afterwards. So look, I'm just excited to see more classic artists. As you did say, I'd love to see Dylan. I don't know who you'd cast to do Dylan. Maybe Timothy Chalamet. He's kind of a Dylan-esque vibe. He's got that hairdo. There's a whole host of things. I don't know.
Yeah, he's a cool guy. Yeah,
but we'll move on, Stephen, because I'm not going to speculate on who they could bring in to do other famous musical artists.
We're not
talking about that.
Could be here all night.
Yeah, we could be here all night. Who could do David Bowie? Who's doing David Bowie in Starman? Who knows? That is a guy who is very hard to nail down. He has so many different personas. Who could do Ziggy Stardust, then the Finn White Duke, and everything in between? Who knows? But look, Stephen, we'll move on to another very intriguing topic to end the show. Who could do, this ties in beautifully, who could do The Mask? A female-led mask, that is. The creator of the original one from the 90s, of course, starring Jim Carrey, has says that he is very much intrigued to do a reboot of The Mask, starring a titular lead actor. And he says that he has someone in mind. It has to be someone who's a really good physical comedian, he says. I have one in mind, but I'm not going to say her name. So, first and foremost, I'll pass it off to you by asking you, Stephen, is this something you want to see? First and foremost, do you think there's a niche in the market for a new Mask movie? Is there a demographic just waiting, exploding with excitement to see a new retelling of this story? And is there any comedic female actress out there who you think could do the role justice.
After the success of The Son of the Mask. Wow, that's a tough act to follow, John. No, I don't want to see this. On all seriousness, no, I don't think it's a good idea. This, who is it? Mike Richardson.
Yeah, Mike Richardson. Yeah.
I would have
and
to
Dark
check.
Comics founder.
Yeah, I would have to check his other films because
I'll
I
do
think
that
he's
right now.
flogging a dead horse here. The Mask was successful because of Jim Carrey. And the visual effects, but we're at that stage now. Those visual effects aren't anything surprising anymore. You know, the sort of combination of Jim Carrey's animated performance with the cartoon-like effects that were superimposed onto the character made that film what it was. It was nothing to do with anything other than that. The Son of the Mask, I think I watched 3/4 of that film. If I'm being generous, it was probably half the film, and I gave up on it. It was just a terrible idea. Jim Carrey's famous for not doing sequels, as we know, apart from Dumb and Dumber 2, where he got his fingers burnt. And he wouldn't have carried on this franchise. Obviously, I can see where this Mike Richardson guy's coming from. You know, The Mask was such a successful film back in 1994. It propelled Jim Carrey as well, along with the character of Ace Ventura, into superstardom. And the rest, as I say, is history.
Yeah.
In regards to a female comedian, Sarah Silverman, I can't think of too many. I don't even know if she's that physical in her sort of, her performances are that. She's a very funny person, but I can't think of any off the top of my head. Certainly, this man's got someone in mind. I wish he'd said who it was because.
Amy Schumer.
No, I can't see it. I don't really care who it is, to be honest with you, John. To be honest with you, I don't even know if I would watch a Jim Carrey sequel to this because I think it's flogging a dead horse, as I said. You know, I'm not really interested.
Yeah, Stephen, to be honest with you, if there was one actress out there just now I think that he would perhaps have his mind or his eye on, it would probably be Amy Schumer. She's not my cup of tea.
No.
I don't watch any of her movies. I think she's quite an abrasive and slightly unlikable person. So I certainly wouldn't watch it if she was involved. I don't think I would watch it anyway, for all of the various reasons you listed off. It's not a movie which has any real... There's no need
substance to it.
Yeah, there's no need for it to be created. It was done, and it was done as best as it could ever be done with Jim Carrey back in the 90s.
Yeah.
I only watched it because of Jim Carrey, because the guy has just got that wacky, incredible sense of acting and comedy, the way he blends it. It's very energetic, it's exuberant and in your face. I don't think anybody else could do the role justice. I don't know even how you would do a story that would work. It's going to be a reboot, so are they going to follow it beat for beat? And then we've seen it before and it'll be compared to Jim Carrey's role, and it's just impossible to top that role.
Ghostbusters all over.
Yeah, Ghostbusters all over.
Yeah.
I just wish Hollywood would stop trying to replicate the success of previous movies whilst putting a female lead in. I'm all for equal opportunity and giving females great roles, but great roles which are
original.
Yeah, original and for the female
I think it's an insult
actresses out
as
there.
well, you know, to
give
to
them
the
doing
female
original
actors.
stories, something that they can get their teeth into and do justice and
Make
maybe
their own,
make it a cult classic of their own instead of trying to rehash. I just wish they'd stop rehashing in general. There's too much of it. We've seen it with Halloween. I mean, I enjoyed Halloween. We're getting a new one, but we've seen it with RoboCop. They tried to recapture the success of a previous movie, and these are cult classics, very much of their time, and that's where they deserve to stay. In terms of Mike Richardson in general, before I round up, he's obviously the founder of Dark Horse Comics, Stephen. So Hellboy, he was involved in that to some extent. He was involved in Mystery Men. He produced that. That's actually one of my
decent film.
Yeah, it's one of my sort of in the closet favourite movies. Out with that, The Legend of Tarzan, I think you reviewed that.
Yeah, it was okay.
And there's not much else going on
great.
there.
It was okay. Time Cop, the Van Damme one was okay as well, John.
Yeah,
but
that's it.
Very mediocre.
Yeah, history.
TV there.
Yeah. And on that note, I think we'll probably end the show on that, because he should be ending any hopes of creating a female-led Mask, and we'll end the show on that note because we've not got much more to add. What did you guys make of the array of topics we spoke about today? Do you want to see Amy Schumer lead a new Mask movie? Do you even want to see a new Mask movie with a female lead? Do you agree with me that they're doing it too much and they should just create new original stories? What do you think of the other topics we spoke about? Russell Crowe playing Aragorn. Should Tarantino go out with Star Trek R-rated? Should they do more movies? Will this give us a renaissance in theatre? Who knows? If you've got anything to say about any of those topics we've discussed, comment below and let us know what your thoughts are. Like the video if you've enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying the content, and we'll be back again tomorrow with the blog rundown.